stuff that he think I don't know about. He think he got one up on me. I don't know. He think he got a mold somewhere. I told him I got a mold.
The boxing world is currently in turmoil, following news that Tank Davis has been placed in federal custody due to allegations of match fixing in his controversial fight with Lamontroach Jr. Just days after rumors of an investigation began to circulate, the situation has escalated dramatically.
The commission gets this right. It was a bummer not being declared the winner on a technicality that could be righted, that wrong could be righted, obviously.
The controversy began when it was reported that referee Steve Willis, who officiated the match, had given crucial information supporting the claims of a fixed fight. Fans and analysts had already questioned the outcome of the bout, which ended in a majority draw when many felt Roach had done enough to secure a win. Now, with federal authorities involved, it seems those doubts may have been justified.
I think Lamontroach, I think he landed more punches throughout the fight. I think Tank was used to, figuring it out, having that slow start, figuring it out around the third, fourth round. And I think
Davis's explanation for his actions was bizarre. He claimed that the grease in his hair caused sweat to drip into his eyes, which burned them and forced him to kneel. Fans mocked this excuse, calling it one of the weakest justifications ever offered by a fighter. Critics pointed out that fighters regularly deal with sweat and blood in their eyes, yet none of them would kneel mid-fight. Roach was livid after the fight, saying, "If you take a knee, that's a knockdown. That's the rule. The ref started counting, so why did he stop? They robbed me." His team quickly filed a formal complaint with the New York State Athletic Commission, demanding a thorough review of the fight and the officiating. But the controversy didn't end there.
What's your thoughts when you first heard that?
That they wasn't going to overturn it?
Yeah.
I mean, I expected that. I don't really see them doing that. Tank is too big of an attraction. New York, I felt like
things took an even darker turn when Davis was allegedly heard making a chilling comment to Roach. On the night of the fight, he reportedly said, "They ain't gonna give it to you." Initially, many thought Davis was referring to the politics of boxing, where the aside fighter often receives favorable treatment. But with the allegations of match fixing, that comment now takes on a much more sinister meaning. Did Davis already know the outcome before the fight even began? Were the results prearranged? These questions have led to a full federal investigation.
He take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, no? And plus the corner go up and put a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules.
Federal authorities became involved after Roach's legal team hired top attorneys who pushed for a deeper investigation into the fight. They highlighted unusual betting activity before the match, particularly the large amount of money placed on a draw, an outcome that is exceedingly rare in boxing. This strange surge in bets raised major concerns. Investigators began looking into whether insider information had been leaked to bettors, hinting that the fight's result was already known. Then came the most shocking revelation. Referee Steve Willis had provided crucial information to authorities.
Well, to me, I thought I won the fight clearly. I thought I won a close fight. I thought I won a very competitive fight. Okay. I'm not saying I steamrolled him or whatever. But
although the full details of Willis's statements remain confidential, sources claim he confirmed that external influences had affected his decisions during the match. This revelation was enough to prompt federal agents to act against Davis, whose arrest has sent shockwaves throughout the boxing world. Davis, who has faced legal issues before, is now dealing with the most serious case of his career.
Should have been a knockdown, one. So that's why I'm yelling at the referee, like, keep counting, like, you tripping, keep counting, that's a knockdown. Because if y'all didn't notice, he started the count.
If the match-fixing allegations are proven true, Davis could face not only a suspension from boxing, but also criminal charges that could result in a prison sentence. Boxing insiders are already speculating on how this will impact his future. Some believe this could signal the end of Davis's career, while others feel his promotional team, led by Al Haymon and premier boxing champions, will do everything in their power to protect him and keep him in the sport. Regardless of the outcome, his reputation may never recover.
I wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids. So we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming in there.
Social media has erupted with reactions to the news, with fighters and boxing figures voicing their opinions. Devin Haney, one of Davis's top rivals, quickly mocked him, posting, "Damn, first he fakes injuries to avoid fights, now he's fixing them. Ain't no way y'all still supporting this dude." Oscar De La Hoya, a longtime critic of Davis, tweeted, "I've been saying it for years, Tank is protected. The truth always comes out." Even veteran analyst Teddy Ellis, known for his blunt opinions, called the situation a disgrace to the sport.
I feel like when my back is against the wall or against the ropes, it's like, it's time to show up. So it wasn't really hard for me to focus because all I had to do was do it.
To add to the drama, Davis has been removed from multiple boxing rankings. Ring Magazine has officially taken him off their pound-for-pound list, replacing him with David Benavidez. The backlash is already taking a toll on his career, and if further evidence emerges from the investigation, the situation could worsen. There's talk that the New York State Athletic Commission may revisit the fight's result and potentially void it entirely. If that happens, Roach could be declared the rightful winner, and Davis could lose his top-tier status and even be stripped of his championship belts.
I'm still rooting with him. I saw all the negativity and people, critics talking, but I think he's one hell of a fighter, and I think he's still the top.
As Davis remains in federal custody awaiting his next hearing, the biggest question is whether he can fight his way out of this situation, or if this will mark the end of his career. If the authorities have enough evidence to charge him with match fixing, he could face not only a ban from boxing, but also significant jail time. Some are drawing comparisons to past boxing scandals, even referencing how Floyd Mayweather was accused of influencing judges and referees. However, while Mayweather was never caught in anything as severe, Davis might not be as fortunate. If these allegations are proven true, this could go down as the most significant scandal in modern boxing history.
Reverse the result of your fight.
Yeah.
Should they reverse the result of that fight as well?
It just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach a victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right? To keep the integrity of the sport.
Davis now finds himself in deeper trouble than anyone anticipated, and the boxing world is divided on whether he can recover or if his career is irreparably damaged. Rolando Romero, a former opponent of Davis, believes Davis can adjust and win in a rematch. However, his comments sparked debate. Speaking to The Ring, Romero suggested that Davis could improve and secure victory next time, claiming that Roach's surprising performance was something even Roach himself might not have expected. This statement raised eyebrows was Romero, implying that Roach just got lucky. One thing all boxing fans agree on is that Roach was the better fighter that night. It wasn't luck, it was skill.
With a good shot, but it was times that I sat in there with him and I'm like, damn, this guy like super slow. Well, not super slow, but he's slow, and I could have took advantage of. I think I was boxing too much in the beginning, and when I
Roach outboxed Davis and would have won if not for questionable officiating. But now, with Davis under federal investigation for match fixing, Romero's comments seem even more dubious. Romero's attempt to downplay Roach's performance, describing it as a one-off event that Roach couldn't replicate, feels like an attempt to protect his own loss to Davis. After all, if Roach, who was never seen as an elite fighter, could give Davis trouble, what does that say about Romero, who was knocked out by Davis in the 6th round of their fight in 2022?
I mean, the only reason they gave you the fight was because you would make more money as a champion, but there's no way it's a draw, and they didn't call the knockdown. If they called a knockdown,
Romero's remarks on the knee incident only added to the controversy. None of the punches hit him, he said, referring to Davis's bizarre decision to take a knee during the fight. This was a damning statement, especially considering Davis claimed he went down because sweat from his hair burned his eyes. If Romero, a fellow boxer, openly states that none of the punches landed, why did Davis kneel? That question remains unanswered. More importantly, why did the referee stop the count halfway through? Romero himself acknowledged that if the knee had been ruled a knockdown, Davis would have lost. That moment was crucial in determining the fight's outcome.
People want to discredit Tank, he's still pound for pound fighter.
What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Shit, I had a off night with Cruz.
What Romero didn't mention is just as important as what he did say. He didn't touch on the fact that Davis's name is now linked to a federal investigation over match-fixing allegations. He didn't bring up how Davis allegedly told Roach before the fight, "They ain't gonna give it to you." He ignored the growing speculation that the unusual betting activity on a draw wasn't just a coincidence. Instead, he focused on the idea that Davis had a tough night and would make adjustments. But how can Davis focus on a rematch when he could be facing criminal charges? That's the real question.
Punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that, you know, he should be disqualified, he went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation. For me, like, there's a lot of people in boxing.
Ryan Garcia, another former opponent of Davis, also weighed in on the rematch debate. Speaking to East News, Garcia said he believes Davis will win the second fight, adding that Tank simply underestimated Roach and thought he would fold. But that raises another issue. Why did Davis expect Roach to fold? Most likely, it's because Davis knew something the rest of us didn't. If Davis believed the outcome would favor him no matter what, then he wouldn't have fought with the same urgency. He wouldn't have trained the same way, and that's exactly what we saw in the ring. Davis fought Roach like he had nothing to worry about. When Roach kept coming forward, Davis looked confused, almost lost. It was one of his worst performances, and Garcia's claimed that he was simply caught off guard doesn't fully explain it.
You can't even see who it is. Hey, who is the dude? Who is the dude?
And that right there is
what makes this situation even more complicated is the $250,000 bet that Roach and Davis had before the fight. Davis wagered that he would knock Roach out, but when the match ended in a draw, it's unclear whether Davis ever paid up. If he didn't, it adds another layer to the controversy. Davis was willing to bet a six-figure sum on a result that didn't happen, which raises major questions, especially if he had inside knowledge of how the fight would unfold. If he truly believed he was going to get the knockout, why did he fight with such little urgency? Why take a knee? It just doesn't add up unless you start to look at the bigger picture.
You think it was a draw? No. You think Lamont won? Lamont. You thought Lamont won? By how many rounds? I don't know.
The good news for Roach is that a rematch is already in the works. Whether it happens in 2024 or 2025, both camps have shown interest in a second fight. However, the reality is that for the rematch, to be fair, all the corruption surrounding the first fight must be fully exposed. If Davis is found guilty of match fixing, how can anyone trust that the next fight will be any different? And more importantly, should Davis even be allowed to fight again? If he's proven to have manipulated the outcome of a professional match, doesn't he deserve a permanent ban? The worst part is that the sport of boxing, already dealing with issues like poor judging, shady business deals, and fights that take forever to materialize, is being damaged even more by this scandal. If one of boxing's biggest names, Gervonta Davis, is involved in a match-fixing scandal, it's a massive blow to the credibility of the sport. It would be far worse than the controversy surrounding Floyd Mayweather's handpicked opponents, or Canelo Alvarez's questionable scorecards. This is straight-up corruption. If Davis is guilty, boxing is facing a serious problem, one that goes beyond just a single fighter. Meanwhile, Davis is still trying to control the narrative. Despite being in remand, his team is working overtime to spin the story and convince people that this is just another case of him being unfairly targeted. But honestly, Davis has been involved in too many controversies for this to be mere bad luck. From his past legal issues to his run-ins with the law, and now facing a federal investigation. This is starting to look like a repeating pattern. Fans are starting to get tired of it right now. Davis is fighting the battles won in the courtroom and won in the court of public opinion.
Never see that fight happening again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again.
It looks like he's losing both, even if he gets out and a rematch happens. His reputation is permanently damaged, no matter what happens. there will always be an asterisk next to his name. And if he somehow manages to win the rematch, critics will just claim it was another fixed fight. Lamontroach Jr. may have been robbed in the first fight, but in many ways, he's already won something far more significant than the respect of the public. Roach was the underdog, the fighter who wasn't supposed to win, but he exposed one of boxing's biggest stars, and now, no matter the outcome of the rematch, people will remember the night he made Gervonta Davis look beatable.
Throw it enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning, and you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the.
And it looks like he's losing both, even if he gets out and the rematch happens. His reputation is permanently damaged, no matter what happens. There will always be an asterisk next to his name, and if he somehow manages to win the rematch, critics will just claim it was another fixed fight. Lamontroach Jr. may have been robbed in the first fight, but in many ways, he's already won something far more significant than the respect of the public. Roach was the underdog, the fighter who wasn't supposed to win, but he exposed one of boxing's biggest stars, and now, no matter the outcome of the rematch, people will remember the night he made Gervonta Davis look beatable.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
You know it's time.
Can't wait.
You ready?
The rematch is almost finalized, and the stakes are even higher this time around. Following their controversial first fight, which ended in a majority draw, Roach's promoter, Gary Jonas, has confirmed that negotiations are nearly complete. Though he didn't reveal all the details, Jonas made it clear that the rematch is very close to being a done deal. He went on to say, "In my mind, it's a done deal, but there are still formalities." That statement alone has set the boxing world abuzz. Fans are now eagerly awaiting an official announcement, but it seems almost certain the rematch is on.
Nah, to be honest, I really made it competitive, for real, to be honest. But for sure, Lamar is a great fighter. He got the skills, like I said.
Jonas also touched on a critical factor that could influence the outcome this time: Davis' mindset. You've got Gervonta, who's probably going to be angry, probably more focused. He said, this marks a major shift from Davis' mentality. Before the first fight, he had been talking about retirement, acting as if he had nothing left to prove and barely promoting the fight. But now, with his undefeated record technically still intact, but his aura of invincibility shattered, Davis has no choice but to come into the rematch fully focused. Anything less, and Roach Jr. could do what he nearly did before walk away with the WBA lightweight title.
Literally saw the mental breakdown of Tank. Like, again, if you got that elite level why, you know what you saw. He was intimidated by Roach, and it was like baffling to see. Why was he moving? Because to me, he was intimidated by Roach. To me,
of course, with the Gervonta Davis fight, controversy is never far behind. The first bout between these two wasn't just close, it was filled with questionable decisions. The most notable being in the 9th round. That's when Davis unexpectedly took a knee, leading referee Steve Willis to start a count as if it were a knockdown. However, after some pleading from Davis, Willis stopped the count midway and allowed the fight to continue. Had he completed the count, Roach would have won by unanimous decision and become the new champion. Instead, the fight went the distance and ended in a draw, a result that left Roach and his team fuming.
Tank, you can't count on Tank to get tired, because his conditioning is out of this fucking world. He can fight 30 rounds if he wants to. 12 rounds ain't shit. Tank can go. So, yeah, Lamont, he didn't do enough.
Roach's team wasted no time filing an appeal with the New York State Athletic Commission, arguing that the knee should have been ruled a knockdown. The commission admitted that Willis had made a mistake, but ultimately decided not to overturn the decision. That only confirmed what many had suspected: the system seems to be rigged in favor of fighters. Like Davis, Roach, not backing down, took to social media to clarify that he wasn't suing anyone over the result. He wrote, "Look, man, I'm going to tell y'all straight up, I ain't sue nobody. STFU. My team submitted an appeal on my behalf." That post alone speaks volumes about how Roach feels heading into the rematch. He believes he was robbed, and now he's coming back with even more motivation. The first time around, he was considered the underdog, just another name on Davis. Resume, but now, he's the man who exposed Gervonta Davis, and this time, he's coming to finish the job.